Welcome to the Daily Coffee Pro, friends. I'm Lee Safar, and today on the Daily Coffee Pro, we are going to be talking about adapting to a changing coffee industry. Today, our podcast is connected to the topic that we're going to be talking about, and you'll understand why in a second. Our sponsor for today's episode of the podcast is Elixir Specialty Coffee. Looks like whiskey, feels like tea, and made from I can't believe I messed up my own tagline. Looks like whiskey, feels like tea, made from coffee, and unlike anything you've ever tasted before. Elixir is a unique, ready-to-drink beverage that you can become a wholesale customer of, or you can purchase for yourself online at elixirspecialtycoffee.com. So the reason why I totally fucked up that intro is because right now I've been working very long days, working on a new project called Coffee for the Front Line. Now we're going to be rolling out the project over the next couple of weeks, but it is connected directly to Elixir Specialty Coffee. I've been alluding to an initiative on the podcast for the last couple of weeks, as well as through Instagram Live, talking about this thing that we've been working on that will hopefully bring the coffee industry back to some semblance of full force business while everyone's still in isolation. We are going through the first phase of release of that project right now, and you can check the project out at elixirspecialtycoffee.com. And check the show notes below or the comment section below for a link to that website. We will, once we've gone through this phase of logistical testing and make sure everything's okay, we'll be inviting everyone else around the world to become a part of the project should they wish to. This initiative is directly tied to the idea of how we as a coffee industry need to adapt across the whole value chain. And if we dig deep into what this idea of adapting to a changing coffee industry means, we have to accept that the world has changed forever. That doesn't need to feel like something that's scary. It doesn't need to feel like something that is kind of doom and gloom. Changes just change, and the way that you react to it and embrace it and the steadfastness with which you do that is going to determine how you experience it. And so while certain people were standing around waiting for a handout, we decided that we would not do that, because it's kind of the modus operandi of what we do is, if everyone's going this way, we're going to go that way. And so we decided to go the other way by finding a solution that would empower us and our industry with dignity and adapt to a time that is unseen for all of us. Now, what does this changed industry look like? This changed industry looks like a lot of uncertainty, which, while we're not new to, the uncertainty that this brings is different, because the uncertainty exists for everybody in the value chain. And that's the point of difference from this new uncertainty to previous times of uncertainty. Before this pandemic, the big crisis was the coffee price crisis. That was the one that we were facing. The new crisis, the pandemic, in collision with the coffee price crisis, has flattened the whole industry for everybody and activated a reset. Now, no matter where you sit on the value chain, you have had to reassess what your role is within the industry and what the industry actually looks like. If you have paid attention to any of the conversations we've had on the podcast in the last couple of weeks, you'll have noticed that all of our guests are saying the same thing. Nothing's going to return to normal in any way, shape, or form that it looked like before. And we could be here in this new normal for an extremely long period of time. And it won't go back to what it was if it does change. It is important in this time when you are in isolation for you to start considering what role you want to play in this new industry, what role you want to play in shaping it, what role you want to play in participating in it. Is your role in the industry still relevant to you? There are a number of people who are going to come out of this and decide, I don't want to be in the coffee industry. But if you do want to be in the coffee industry, this is a time to be pensive and deliberately intentional about what it is that you want to do in this new coffee industry. The supply chain is going to be affected, and how, we don't know yet. The price of coffee, green, is going to be affected. The way that the logistics of coffee is being addressed is going to be affected. And the way that you service consumers is going to be affected. The way you roast coffee, the way you interact and sell that coffee to consumers is going to be affected. There's nothing in the supply chain that's going to remain the same. Perhaps even, well, not perhaps, even the way that you roast coffee will need to be different, because where in previous times you may have had assistants around you, you may have had people that were working closely together to bag coffee, etc., etc. That's not happening anymore. That can't happen anymore. Social distancing is a requirement. Physical distancing is a requirement. So adapting to that is going to require a couple of things. First of all, there's going to be two ways that you could approach this. And a lot of us have kind of moved beyond this point. Some of us are still stuck in that point. But the panic of everything changing has hit, and some people have been stuck in that trauma. Other people have moved on from it. You're going to have to assess where you're at with this. And if you are stuck in the trauma of it, if you're going to need to find a way, not that I'm trying to tell you how to influence and how you should be reacting to anything, but in order for you to move on, finding a way to process that trauma is going to be important for you to move on to the next stage. And the next stage would be coming up with a plan. Then, given that the next phase is coming up with a plan, let's talk about that for a second. If you're going to come up with a plan that is based on the way things went before, that plan is going to have far too many holes in it. The next plan that you're coming up with should be taking very close notice and pay lots of attention to conversations that are going on with the different actors in the value chain. How are people at origin experiencing this? What is really changing at origin? What is not changing at origin? If you like to buy certain coffees from certain farmers, get in contact with them. Go direct to the source for all of your information right now. This is a wonderful time for the fuckery of information. And you can't trust anything that doesn't come from the person that is saying it. There's a lot of misinformation out there about a lot of things. So while we think that the price of specialty coffee is going to go up, while other people think that the price of specialty is going to go down, some people say commodity coffee is going to get extremely expensive. What I would encourage you to do is find producers that you want to work with and want to do business with, and have conversations that are direct with them. We are in the process of finalising the plans for the workshop that we'll be doing with Jamie Isets and Christopher Ferran that will clearly outline how you can go about doing this, and a lot of the things that you need to start considering moving forward with regards to sourcing coffee. If you're a cafe and you are assessing what you need to be doing now, look, you may not have people in your cafe allowed to stand inside your cafe for at least 12 months. As much as the people that are making decisions or pretending like they're responsible for making decisions in government are saying we've got to get the economy back to normal. That's wonderful and all. But the reality of the matter is it can't happen until we have experienced a certain decline. That curve that we keep talking about, bending the curve, not only does the curve need to be bent, but it has to be on a downward, a negative incline, which means it needs to be pointing down for 14 days, consistently going down for 14 days before we can even consider getting back to business. We haven't even hit the other side of the curve going down. Not even China has done that. They've flattened the curve, but they haven't been able to drop it. So there's a long way to go before we understand where this is headed. But right now you're adapting to things that are changing in real time. And if you are adapting to things that are changing in real time, the best way to do that is to make sure that you have the information at hand. One last thing. The key word in the title of this episode is adapting. Now, being adaptive is a key strength of the best entrepreneurs, the best business owners. They can adapt and pivot as needed. This is a really great time to grow those muscles and understand what being adaptive means real time. And so the things that can get in the way of you being able to adapt are stubbornness, closed-mindedness, a lack of empathy, an unwillingness to hear the information that is true, rather than being stuck in your ideology. Being stuck in an ideology right now that isn't based in fact is going to ruin your business, no matter where you are on the value chain. The same thing for you as a professional. It will ruin you right now to be stuck in an ideology while the rest of the world is trying to adapt to a new reality. And so if you are looking to be a part of the coffee industry as we adapt to a new normal, the importance of being grounded in flexibility and being able to pivot as things change very quickly is going to be your best friend right now. A part of that is this Coffee for the Frontline movement. We will be revealing a lot more detail in the coming weeks. I'll be talking about it more in Instagram Lives today and through the weekend. So join us at 4 p.m. Pacific time and get a little bit of a scoop before we start making it official through the podcast and through mailing lists and stuff like that. You can start to really dig deep if you head to elixirofspecialtycoffee.com and start to see what the project looks like. And we'll be inviting other people to be a part of it in the coming weeks. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay home. Peace, love, and peanut butter, friends. Have an amazing rest of your day.